What's up, guys? This is DizzyPW with MMOHuts, and we're doing one of the biggest events for Wildstar prior to its launch. And there's one thing in particular that not a lot of people know about, and so we've got the PvP specialist from Carbine Studios here to tell you a little bit about. It's an MMORPG. Well, that's what you guys are here for, right? So, could you introduce yourselves to our audience and say a little bit what you do at Carbine?
My name's Kevin Lee. I am the Battleground and Arena feature designer on Wildstar.
And my name is Jen Gordy. I'm the lead PvP designer for Wildstar.
So give us like a little bit of an introduction about Wildstar's PvP and what sets it apart in the industry.
Well, first of all, I think it's our combat. It's very fast, frenetic. The telegraph system adds a layer to that combat that is not seen in any other MMOs. And especially in our Battlegrounds, I think we've tried to take familiar game types and add new spins to them to make them fresh.
I would agree with that sentiment that we do interesting gameplay mechanics on stuff that you may have already seen before. For example, with the arena, we're not doing a standard deathmatch elimination. We're using shared team respawns. So each team has a set number of respawns, and when those respawns have been depleted, you have to defeat the remaining team members in order to win the match. And then same thing happens with our Battlegrounds. We have a capture the flag variant in which you can steal the other team's flags. In this case, it's a Moody mask for Battleground Waitiki Temple. And then for Halls of the Bloodsworn, we have an attack-defend map style that not only do you do a primary presence mechanic capture, you have secondary objectives that influence the capture rate of that primary.
Now let's break it down. That's getting a little bit too advanced too quick. So what's the difference between Battlegrounds versus the arena matches versus the Warplots?
So our Battleground matches are much larger scale. They're 10v10. And we have they're the leveling experience for Wildstar. So starting at level 6, you can start playing into Battlegrounds. You're earning experience, and prestige is our PvP currency, and you're getting a chance at loot as well. Our arenas are more of the hardcore, small team competitive environments where you have we have an open experience that starts at level 30 that will allow people an easier on-ramp onto the arena system. And then a rated arena that starts at level 50. We have 3 brackets for that. It's 2v2, 3v3, and 5v5. And similar to other games, we use a rating system for your personal score and for your team, and that gates the rewards you get from that system.
Okay, so what you're saying is you could basically play PvP throughout the game if that was your chosen method of progression.
Once you got to level 6, absolutely. Because through the Battlegrounds play, you're earning prestige. You can spend prestige on level-appropriate gear for your character, all the way up to level 50. And then you can continue to extend your item progression through either Warplots or arena play, sorry.
All right, tell me a bit about PvP servers and how that's going to play out. Are they going to be locked apart from each other for a while? What level are you going to start to run into each other? And then what are the penalties and all the different mechanics of that?
So for our PvP, we'll have a PvE rule set and a PvP rule set. Did I say that right?
Yes.
Okay. You won't actually encounter any shared zones, so these are zones that both Exile and Dominion are questing in until you reach around level 22 with White Veil. At that point, for a PvP server, once you enter into that zone, you are automatically flagged for PvP, and you'll remain that way throughout your career for the higher level zones. For PvE, you can voluntarily flag yourself, and we're actually seeing a lot of this activity in our beta servers right now.
Okay. And then, if you kill someone in their faction, do they have a way of, coming back to get you? Is there any penalty or reward for killing someone on the other faction?
Yeah, so we have holocrypt locations, which is our res points, all throughout Nexus, and including locations for the enemy team if they're in a home faction zone. There's no penalty for killing players. Actually, we will actually give players experience and prestige for killing an open world PvP. But we do have some unique mechanisms, like if you die because of PvP, when you respawn, you'll have a short burst of PvP immunity, so you can't be attacked again. You're basically unflagged for that duration. I forgot what else. We also have our shared quest hubs are also sanctuaries, so you can't do any kind of PvP in them. So we try to protect the player where necessary, but we also like to let them slaughter each other. So.
Nice, nice. And now, when talking about it, because it's always hard to balance PvP and PvE, what kind of mechanics are there in game to kind of cancel out hard CC, like getting locked down forever, or are people just going to explode, or are they tankier than a usual MMORPG?
So Wildstar has a system called Interrupt Armor, and what that is through player class or player ability, you can increase the armor count. And when you're hit with a CC of that effect, or when you're hit with the CC effect, one of your stacks of the interrupt armor is removed. We also have some abilities that offer unlimited interrupt armor for a short duration. So you can either have this stuff cast upon you by a fellow player, or you have it cast upon yourself as a natural self-cast ability. We also have PvP consumables, which will offer that kind of interrupt armor for a temporary period of time, and then the diminishing return system that we have in place. So if you are hit one too many times with a particular CC type, then you're immune to that for a short duration.
And then in terms of the instance PvP, are you allowed to use the same consumables that you would in the outside world? Are there any limitations on them?
We do have some limitations in place for Arena, because we feel like this is a much more competitive environment than most others. But in general, all of the PvP consumables that we offer can be used in all of the environments, and we have a special eye towards health type consumables being usable in both spaces. But we want to make sure that the technician has, which is our trade skill that revolves around crafting potions and items like this, actually does have use of both environments.
And then speaking of the crafting, let's wrap this up talking about the customization you get on the Warplots. So the Warplots are they're not guilds, which I was confused about before. They're actually something separate, and they get to customize it out just like they do inside of the housing system. So can you tell us about some of the nodes that you can customize in the game and how that actually impacts the PvP in the Warplots?
So there's a lot of spots you can customize on your Warplot. These are massive plugs, similar to what we use for our housing system. We have anything from guard-style structures to structures that offer passive buffs to super weapons, so you can fire a multiple rocket launcher and do missile strikes on your enemies. You can even, we have an orbital laser that does a huge area of effect laser damage and knockdown. And we also have free place objects that you can place like you could housing decor, except for these guys actually do some serious damage to you. So we have turrets, which have various shaped telegraphs for damage. We also have traps that for the enemy, when they won't actually see them, they'll be stealthed until they're right on top of them. So we have different kinds of landmines or rooting tile traps and things like that. So.
And how does this play out in terms of actually purchasing these upgrades to your faction?
So the Warplot match system is done War Party v War Party. And War Party is a separate guild-like structure with a fixed team size. So everything that you can modify on that Warplot is driven through War Coins, which is a special team currency that the War Party has. You are funded with an initial amount of War Coins when you create a War Party for the first time. This allows you to basically fund your first match. And then after that, you'll have to earn your War Coins through competing and playing in the Warplot matches.
Okay. Sorry for leaving you out of this for so long, Kevin. I can tell she's really, she's really passionate about this. But what's your thoughts on the PvP? How do you feel that this really sets Wildstar apart?
Like Jen had mentioned, my expertise is, of course, the Battlegrounds and arenas. It's those unique touches, like the life pool for the arenas. It adds a tactical element that isn't currently there and makes current tactics that work in arenas not as viable. So just focusing the healer isn't necessarily the best tactic because now you have respawns. So tactics like saving a respawn for your healer or coordinating when you respawn so you can regroup, or even map awareness is more beneficial because as soon as one of your teammates dies, you want to make your way back to spawn so you can close the gap between you and your teammate.
Well, as much fun as it is to talk about, I have to say you really have to try it yourself. It's like, I've been doing this a long time. It's unlike anything I've ever experienced in PvP, and it's a hell of an adrenaline rush. It'll actually wear you out just from constantly trying to learn your opponents. You gotta know every class in this game, what their telegraphs are, what it's gonna do to you, constantly watching for CC, and it's a lot of fun. You guys got to try it out. As you know, the embargo's up. The release date is out. You'll be able to check this game out as soon as June 3rd, even earlier if you pre-order. Any last words to tell our audience before we close this out?
I just look forward to seeing everybody out there.